This is Yasmin from Decibel.lk, and I have Ashanta from Constellation and Dan from Sacrament, and they are two names you will be seeing take stage at the tribute to Chester Bennington. Fellas, need to ask you this. As musicians, how has Chester Bennington influenced you and your music?
Well, one of my friends just called me at about 6 in the morning and just told me, do you know what happened? And I was like, well, what happened? Chester's dead. I was like, yeah, you don't joke about things like that. And he was like, no, he's actually hung himself. And I was like, what? And I switched on my computer and I checked, and then I think for about 20 minutes I didn't move from my bed. I was just seated there. It was just such a massive shock. I mean, this is like one of the most universal things about Linkin Park is that these were the guys who basically got us into rock and metal. Everyone knows that was how most of us started off. And despite Linkin Park's latest endeavors into different areas of rock and electronica and stuff like that, they were such a massive influence on everyone. I mean, and especially Chester. His lyrics, those screams. I mean, back then, how they sounded. There are metal bands that we listen to now sometimes who don't sound as heavy as they did back then, and they weren't even considered to be metal. So it was such a they were such an impactful band. So Chester is passing. I don't think even now it's 100% sunk in. I think people are still processing it, and I mean, even though we're organizing this concert and all of that, I don't think people have still come 100% into terms with what has actually happened. He's still around because people are still spamming the Hybrid Theory albums and the Meteora albums and the Collision Course and the Minutes to Midnight and all of that. So people, I don't know if it's really hit yet. So it's weird.
It took some time to process what had happened. I think that night we were working, and then after I left about an hour or two, I got the news from these guys on a group, and I think I messaged you after that and told you. And it was a bit of a shocker because this was a band we grew up listening to, and they helped us get through our teens and get through school years and all. And to know that he was dealing with that kind of stuff as well, and to know that it got the best out of him, that was really devastating. And well, yeah.
Okay. So you guys are a part of this gig that's also to raise awareness on suicide prevention. And I think this is one of those things that I think it has been done before, but now it's come back with such a rage.
Yeah.
The support from the rock and metal community towards such a thing. How do you personally feel about it as a musician yourself?
Well, I mean, when we first started, we got together, and you were there as well. We got together pretty much here, and we were talking about, okay, look, we need to do something for Chester, and we need to do a special concert, and it was supposed to be a standalone project, and then CAFs and all these guys came on board as well. I think through Aseka's connections, we got in touch with them, and they got in touch with us, and then things worked out, and I think it's turning out to be, I think it was meant to be. This whole thing was meant to happen because I mean, obviously not just a passing, but this whole endeavor was meant to happen in a really grand scale because everything just fit into place. And as we know, so many people who suffer from depression and so many issues, and people don't realize. I mean, even after Chester passed, I think that's the only time when people actually went and wikied him and they found out that he was dealing with this many things, because all those times you listen to Hybrid Theory and Meteora, they were just angsty lyrics at that time. You weren't thinking, oh my god, this guy was actually, this is what he was going through, and I think for most people, until he actually did pass, people had no idea what was going on, and you really don't know, So and especially in Sri Lanka, where psychology isn't that wide a mainstream subject, where people actually know how depression works and stuff like that, because there's a difference between being depressed and suffering from depression, and people don't understand the difference between that. And when it comes to suicide prevention, you really don't know the signs. Most people don't know. So this is a huge deal, because Linkin Park is universal thing. So every time we have a metal gig, we know, okay, there's a select amount of people who come for that metal gig, and we know that outside that group there's a very small chance that other people will come to see the metal gig. But when we do a gig like this, like a very, very special tribute to Chester Bennington of Linkin Park, Stone Temple Pilots, and Dead by Sunrise, because of Linkin Park being such a huge influence on so many people across genres, we're expecting a large crowd to come, because it's Chester. And because we're teaming up with CAFs, the amount of coverage that we can get for suicide awareness and stuff like that, it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. So I think that this entire initiative, it's going to be a very special milestone in Sri Lanka, So...
Is there anything you'd want to add?
It's another thing we should mention is that it won't be the rock and metal bands as well. There'll be various other artists, from DJs to the rappers from the local industry, who will be joining us for this performance.
And of course, I mean, we're getting some, special names like iClown, who's coming in as well. He's part of our band, but he's also known as, a solo guy. iClown will be coming in. He'll be doing sampling and stuff like that. And we have DJ Hiranya, who's coming in as well. He's a well-known name as well, and he's a major fan of Linkin Park as well. He likes the new rock kind of thing, so he's going to be coming in as well. It's going to be a very, very open scenario, people from different genres coming together for this one cause, and they're going to be collaborating. It's going to be incredible, and it's all for that one purpose. It's going to be very special.
Sri Lanka, that's why you need to find that event page and make sure you attend.